I've seen so many people rush to the cheapest gaming laptops on sale, only to end up with a machine that can't keep a single game running without stuttering, overheating, or dying the moment they unplug. The regret is real. You spend a few $100s, get a flimsy chassis, a grainy display, and then wonder why you didn't just wait for a better option. So the question is, does the Acer Swift 16 AI laptop feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another flashy price tag that will leave you wishing you'd spent your money elsewhere? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through the real-world experience before you decide whether to put this one in your cart. First off, the biggest hesitation for anyone eyeing a gaming machine is the fear of buying a laptop that can't sustain performance. In the past, I've tested thin laptops that could launch a game at 60 frames per second for a few minutes, then drop to 30 as the fans hit max speed and the CPU throttles. With the Swift 16, the core of that worry is the combination of an Intel Ultra 7256V processor and Intel Arc graphics. The Ultra 7 is an 8-core CPU built on the latest 7nm process, and on paper it promises strong single-core performance for games that rely on speed rather than raw power. The Arc GPU, however, is still an integrated solution, meaning it shares memory with the system and lacks the dedicated VRAM you'd find on a RTX 3060 or higher. In practice, that translates to a solid experience on titles like Valorant Fortnite and Rocket League at 1080p with medium settings, but you'll start seeing frame rate dips in more demanding AAA games such as Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring even before you crank the resolution up. That brings us to the display, which is where the Swift 16 really shines. The 16-inch 2.8K OLED panel delivers deep blacks, vibrant colors, and a contrast ratio that makes any game world pop. Because it's a touchscreen, you can also dip into creative work or media consumption without needing a separate device. The OLED technology does come with a caveat for gamers. While the colors are gorgeous, the maximum brightness hovers around 350 nits, which is fine for indoor play but can be washed out under bright sunlight. For most bedroom or cafe setups, though, the visual experience feels premium and definitely justifies the higher price tag compared with a standard IPS panel. Storage and memory are another practical win. The laptop ships with a whopping 4 TB of NVMe SSD space and 16 GB of LPDDR5 RAM. That means you can install a large library of games, edit 4K video, and still have room for heavy multitasking without watching load screens crawl. In my own testing, a fresh install of Assassin's Creed Valhalla loaded the open world in under a minute, and swapping between Photoshop, Chrome, and a game was seamless. The SSD's speed also helps keep the system cool because data transfers finish quickly, reducing the sustained load on the drive. Now, let's talk about the keyboard. The backlit keys have a short travel distance, typical of thin laptops, but the actuation feels crisp enough for long gaming sessions. The illumination is uniform and can be dimmed, which is handy for late-night raids when you don't want the whole room lit up. There's an IR camera up front for Windows Hello, and the presence of Wi-Fi 7 ensures you'll have the latest wireless speeds for online multiplayer, provided your router supports it. Thermals are where the Swift 16 starts to show its compromises. The chassis is sleek and light, but that thinness limits the size of the heat pipes. Under a modest gaming load, around 30-40 W, the fans spin up to a noticeable hum, which is fine if you're in a private space. Push the machine harder, say, a sustained 80 W load in a demanding title and the fans get noticeably louder, and the laptop's surface temperature rises to the point where you'd want a wrist rest. After about 2030 minutes of continuous play, the CPU clock throttles a few percent to keep temperatures in check, which translates into a small but perceptible dip in frame rates. For casual gamers, that's acceptable. For competitive players who need every ounce of performance, it can be a deal-breaker. Battery life is another trade-off you'll notice. The Swift 16 packs